Hello everybody! Thanks for finding the time to watch this live walk. Today we're gonna walk around the part of the old town which doesn't have the main city sites, yet it's part of the historic quarter. We'll talk about the famous Odessa-born writer Isaac Babel, do some window shopping, stroll along Jewish Street, and see the California Hotel. So let me flip the camera and let's go. About 5 years ago, the city's administration decided to make this house look nice. They restored the facade of the building, but also decided to make the courtyard, which is in the back of the building, look nice, and decorated the walls of the house with the paintings which relate to Odessa's past and talk about the city's main sites. Here you can see the old stove and the way the beaches looked in the past. People used to rent such a spot and took the staircase to go down into the water, and over there is a real window of an apartment. And here are the city's main sites: the main cathedral, the National Opera and Ballet Theatre, 3 famous monuments to the Empress Catherine, to Pushkin, and to the Governor General Vorontsov, and the Potemkin staircase, and the Emperor Alexander II column in the Shevchenko Park. Here's an old Soviet car. And the map of the city. And cute balconies with the man playing the violin on top, then a lady doing the laundry. Another lady is looking towards the sea, and the couple probably enjoying the ambience. And these garages appeared at some point during the early 2000s. And now let me go back onto the main street and show you the facade of the building. Here somebody has made a private entrance to an apartment. And the walls of the arches also have cute paintings. Here's one of the symbols of the old Odessa, a Jewish boy playing violin, and the adverts of the city theater. Here's the city theater. And a real door which people still use to walk to the apartments. And here is an entrance to a pet, either a cat or a dog. And now I'm going back onto the main street. Here's how this building looks from the back, from the front. Why has the city decided to make this house look nice? The sign says the House of Babel. Isaac Babel is probably the most famous Odessa-born writer who wrote the Odessa stories, making Odessa and Jewish Odessa world famous. He was not born in this building. This is the place where Isaac Babel wrote his first collection of stories called the Red Cavalry and started writing the tales of Odessa. The sign says that Isaac Babel lived in this house from 1909 to 1924. It's a heritage building. The sign says the year, the period when the house was built, and the owner's name. And here's a beautiful old door. Here's another view on the house, and across the road from the Babel's house is this monument, which is the monument to Isaac Babel. 9 years ago, the Association of the Local Intellectuals, known as the Club of Odessans, kicked off the project to start creation of the Isaac Babel's monument. They launched a contest for the best project of this monument, and this project won for many meanings of the statue and of this whole complex. The cobbled basement of the monument resembles the old cobblestone streets of the city. The writer is sitting on the steps, which are either the entrance to his house or the Potemkin staircase. He's looking at the city and he is writing about the city. And the city gave the spot for the monument because it's right across the road from the house. And here's the building of the public school, elementary, middle, and high school. Soviet building built at some point in 1950s. And now let's walk towards this beautiful building. It was designed by a local architect of the Jewish origin, and that's one of the few buildings in the city designed in modern style in the very late 1800s. The owner of the building was a Jewish widow who inherited the business from her husband, but she didn't want to run the business. She sold it and invested the money into the real estate. Originally, on the first floor there was a store, and the other floors consisted of apartments for rent. These days, the first and the second floor are also occupied by very posh, very expensive clothing store, and the top floors consist of apartments. And the store has some of the most beautifully decorated windows in the city. Up there above the balcony is the last name of this Jewish widow who owned the building, Greenberg. And here is another beautiful window. It's a beautiful day today, finally. It's not freezing cold. It's about 3 degrees Celsius. And it feels really warm and nice with the sun coming out. And here's the Soviet time apartment building. Here such buildings are called Stalin time apartment buildings since they were built during Stalin time. And at that time, in the early 1950s, it was a huge luxury to get a unit in such a building. It was not really for the common people. And look, somebody is selling the apartment. The sign says for sale and the contact mobile number. This is one of the main streets in the historic quarter. These days it's called Richelieu Street after Odessa's prominent governor, Duc de Richelieu. In the Soviet times, it was called Lenin Street, since it's one of the most central streets. And if I zoom in, let me do it. Over there in the back, behind the yellow bus, you can see the opera house a little bit. And this is one of the means of the public transport. And a Soviet Lada. Since this is one of the main streets in the city center, it's packed with different stores. Here's a small supermarket. And here's Watson's and an ATM machine. And here's how locals pay for the mobile telco services for internet. So here's the list of vendors. You select the vendor and then you put the money in there. And then you get a receipt, and that's how you can use cash to pay the bill. More stores across the road. Ukrainian designers. Coffee place, women's club, which is a men's club, which is a strip club, and this building was built at some point in the early 2000s, and it houses one of the colleges of the Law Academy, which is one of the leading universities in the country. I've reached Jewish Street. This road, this one, is officially called Jewish Street. According to the local historians, when the city was about 5 years old, the Jewish community built here on the corner the first synagogue, which was a one-story small building which was later expanded, and then finally in 1850s the Orthodox Jewish community hired an Italian architect to build a new building of the main city synagogue, which is in front of you. This is the main city synagogue, which belongs to the Orthodox community. When the communists took it over, all religious institutions, including the synagogues, were shut down. After World War II, the synagogue was given to the Teachers Training Institute, and they turned it into the sports gym. That's where they played basketball and did gymnastics. And then finally in 1993, the Jewish community got the building back, spent 3 years restoring it, and in 1996 opened the main city synagogue. The food stall in front of the synagogue is closed because of the Shabbat. They closed Friday, Saturday, and until Sunday afternoon. Jewish Street changed its name during the last 200 years. Of course, during the Soviet times, the name was changed to Babel. Babel was the German communist. Then during the Nazi and Romanian occupation, the street was named after Mussolini. Then when the Soviets came back, it got back its original Soviet name, Babel. And then in 1996, during the opening of the synagogue, the city mayor decided to give the street back its original name. And since that time, since late 1990s, it's been Jewish Street. And next to the synagogue is the Confucius Center. Confucius Institute. And here is Hotel California, privately owned, built about 10 to 12 years ago, and the only hotel with the mezuzah at the entrance, right behind the doors. This is where lots of Jews stay during the Shabbat when they need to go to the synagogue. And here's the sign which says California Hotel, 5-star hotel. And here is one of the best places to try local. And I'm going to get one now. So we finish our walk here. Till next weekend. And if you're interested in more in-depth story of Jewish Odessa, book our live Jewish Odessa walking tour. Booking instructions are in the description. Bye for now.